September 7th, 2002, Saturday. Almost a complete waste of a day. Luckily, one of those moments saved it. Eric and I had been talking about hanging out tonight, depending on how I was feeling. He didn't work at all, and I worked from 1:30 to 6. I went home, relaxed, showered, and did some computer shit. I emailed that Stephanie girl from the 311 concert. I'd waited too long and didn't know what to say, so I wrote, "I've thought about you a lot since we met. Do you even remember? What's my name?" Then I typed all the lyrics to Constellation by the Juliana Theory. She mentioned that as being her favorite song by them. We'll see where this goes. I call Eric and we meet down at the theater at 9 p.m., then go to Taco Bell. We spend like 45 minutes there talking and then head back to the theater. He starts to go in and I ask if he'd want to just hang in the parking lot. He said sure. It's now like 10 p.m. and this is the moment that made my night. We sat on the tailgate of my truck in the middle of the parking lot and just talked about shit. Where we'd like to go, what we'd like to do. It was cool just sharing this half hour really talking. I can talk about almost anything with him. He was telling me about one time when he spent the night with Ashley and they were lying in bed together and they heard someone unlocking and coming in through the front door. She jumped up and put a robe on and he hid under the bed or something. It turned out to be someone named Terry who was Ashley's neighbor and fuck buddy. About 10 p.m. we go inside to wait for Lance, Lonnie, and Franklin. Karen was also there. After 20 minutes of waiting, Eric went to go play Tekken at the arcade, and Lance, being an obedient lapdog, followed close behind. Then Lottie and Karen went to the arcade too, leaving Franklin and I to wait for them. This is the point where I shut down. I could tell that Eric and Lance were trying to wait Karen out. They didn't want her to go with us. Franklin and I wait for almost an hour, and when everyone got back, we stand around and debate on what to do. We finally head outside, and Lance tells Eric and I that not everyone is going back to his house. Quote, "Well, you should tell this to the people who aren't going, not to Eric and I who are going," I say. Of course, he doesn't say anything to anyone. So now we just stand around in the back parking lot for another half hour. Karen keeps rubbing my head and bumping into me playfully, and I'm so pent up that I told her not to touch me because I don't feel like being touched. After a little while more, Karen left and we still did nothing. We went to the gas station and back, and then I really wanted to leave because I wanted to be alone. Right when I give up to leave, Lance says, "We can go to my house if you want." Not that I really care, but it's just that he doesn't have the balls to tell people things and then gives in to things when he thinks he's losing someone. I took Franklin home and then I went home. Besides the time with Eric, the night was useless. 5:15 a.m. Sunday. I forgot to tell you about this morning. I sleep with my mouth open because I often have a hard time breathing through my nose. This leads to having a mouthful of dust in the morning. Not always, but on occasion. As I kept waking up periodically all night, I became aware of some shit caked to the roof of my mouth, and since I was apprehensive about getting up, being vertical, I just dealt with it. When I finally got up around noon to deal with this, I had to fucking scrape this gunk off the roof of my mouth. It must have been dust mixed with dried mucus from my throat. Yes, it was horribly disgusting. I almost made myself vomit by gagging myself. I scraped so hard that I think I pulled some skin off because my mouth began to bleed. This is really turning you on, isn't it? End quote. If I don't somehow prove my existence regularly, I feel as though I don't deserve to live. Henry Rollins. Smile. You're traveling.